All right, hey, what's up, Factory Forge? It is Tim here with the Juice, and I made this video to go over the upcoming testing cycle, how to help explain it to your classes and the members here starting on January 8th. You're probably still going to have some questions. That's okay. Feedback is good, and I'm excited to get you guys going and to work with you. Over time, these things will make a lot more sense. Some of it may make sense right away. I hope so, but just anytime there's new programming, a new approach, maybe a new, different line of reasoning or something, there can be questions, and that's normal. So I have really thick programming skin, as I always say. So if you have questions or something for your specific community needs to be added in, or you just know, hey, this is always good for us, I'm open to hear that. But what I want to do today mostly is show you the testing week and how it should work. And again, like I said, how to explain it to your people. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let me pull up this. It's in the Google Doc here that says Fast Factory Juice Programming. That's where I'll be uploading the programming regularly for the upcoming month for you. Once I get the initial part of this testing done and you guys are good, I'm going to upload the rest of the skeleton up for January, and it'll be coming out a month at a time. A lot of times I'll do a 2-week testing cycle. Like say I had an individual athlete going to regionals. It's a 2-week testing cycle to start. For a gym, for our members, that's just too much in a row. It just, they want to have the balance of having fun, having it be the best hour of their day, having it be programming that you as coaches can execute in the time constraints you have. You don't have someone for 3 hours there. Hopefully not. They're probably working, they have kids, etc. So with those things in mind, I'm putting this together to manage those. So this does look different than, say, a totally individualized athlete I'm working with for that reason. So say, just to give you an example, we wanted to do lactic endurance repeats for training. That might be something like 2 minutes on, 10 or 12 minutes off. Well, that's a really boring class, right? And what you're going to do 2 intervals and it's over. So there are things we're going to do to help make that work well, to help partner people up, etc. for this. So here we go. So day 1, we are going to be testing back squat 1RM. Great starting point. The 2 main figures that I work with when we talk about structural balance is the blend of front squat to back squat. I actually use front squat as our key 100% indicator. Other gyms or programming concepts use the back squat as that. The area I have a problem with that for fitness people is that most movements in the sport of fitness involve an upright torso, right? Front squat, thruster, wall ball, overhead squat, snatch, clean, jerk receiving positions, etc. can't be cantilevered over at all. So front squat is actually a much better predictor of that. The second thing that comes up is if the back squat was 100% of someone's, like their max, and the deadlift was traditionally 125%. If you look at the games athletes and what they pulled at the ranch a year ago or 2 years ago when they were there, low 5s, awesome deadlift. I would be happy to pull low 5s, but their back squats are really close, and their front squats are closer to that. So the front squat was really the biggest indicator of success in a lot of these athletes, not the back squat. The back squat is a training tool to get the strength up. So we're starting with back squat, but we are going to do front squat later in the week. We're going to be testing somewhere between 12 to 15 minutes. When I put a range like that, that's not a hard stop there. It's just to give you an idea as a coach of how long it should take for that to happen. So if you need 18 minutes and your class management is good and their warm-up is good and everyone's ready and fired up, CNS is up and they're ready to rock, then good. Again, that's part for you on the floor to be able to make those choices as coaches and what the head coaches and managers there expect from you all to execute the program. So for the fitness people, we're looking for 3 reps at a 3.0x1 tempo. Again, that's 3 seconds down, no pause at the bottom. X, time up, 1 second top, pause at the top, enough for a back down, 1, 2, 3. The idea is for fitness people, if they are doing this programming, the avatar I have for fitness for you is someone who wants weight loss, some lean muscle gain, but also needs a lot of reps on basic technique. So a 1 rep max doesn't really give us a whole lot at that level. It can. I'm not opposed to them doing it. But generally, if they can do a 1 rep max, then fine, you can do performance training. And that's always kind of my answer for that. Yeah, you can do performance. So that's all good. Performance sport, the same for them, just 1 rep. We don't need a tempo on that for them, just down and up by there. You should know what that looks like. They're going to then rest a few minutes, and they're going to do max reps unbroken at 85% of max, 1 attempt. So they don't get to re-rack it. That's just down, up, as long as they want for that. Somewhere between 5 to 7 reps is average for a CrossFitter. Athletes who are really fast, maybe not so enduring, are going to be in the 1, 2, 3, and 4 range for the most parts. And I've actually had athletes get 1 on this test, but their 1 rep is really high, right? Other athletes, maybe more marathon runners, endurance athletes, may have a low 1 rep, right? But they can do a whole bunch of reps of this over and over. And we call this neuromuscular endurance. And that's the idea. So here's how this plays out in workouts for us down the road and why this is important info for you and your clients to know. Let's say someone says, hey, I back squat 300 pounds. What weight should I do this workout at, for example? And you're like, oh, well, for this, you should maybe use 33% would be 100 pounds. But if someone is not efficient there, they may be too low and they can rock that over and over. Or if someone has poor neuromuscular endurance and they can shoot way high up their central nervous system and get a lot of reps out of it, they might be there. It might be totally crushing for them. Now they're not getting any conditioning stimulus there. So that's how we would kind of help adjust that based on the athletes, and I'll explain that more and more as we go on. So that's just the idea there. The second part is 5-minute Amrap of strict pull-ups. There's 2 scores I'm looking for. I'm looking for innate maximum, meaning just what they can do right there, and then recovery. Recovery for fitness is actually probably the most important thing we're going to be hitting on over and over. And the reason is people can go really hard, but it's our aerobic system is what helps the recovery system kick in, right? If we use a lot of fast energy, CP, ATP, creatine phosphate, ATP, that regenerates 3 ways. 1, from oxygen coming in, 2, the Krebs cycle and glycolysis, and 3, then really, I guess it would be the low aerobic, because long aerobic. We're not really forcing recovery. It's just kind of, yeah, sit down for 30 minutes, come back. Yeah, you'll be good, I'm sure. But we don't have that time in the sport of fitness, right? You have to recover well. So the aerobic backbone is really, really important for what we do. So what we're looking for is for fitness is ring rows. Again, they're getting structurally sound work. I don't really care, to be frank with us, about too much movement variance with them, because they need movement mastery at the basic levels, right? I don't want to be like, hey, well, you can do a squat on a kettlebell. No, hey, how about a really good squat that's going to help your hormones kick in and help your endocrines work really well so you sleep better, et cetera, is going to actually be really close, more closely in line with their goals. That's what we want for them. So sometimes they think that variety is the spice of life, and variety is fine, but at that level for that group, they need, in my opinion, to do things they can do really well over and over, not be injured, have a great time working out. Performance is just strict pull-ups. That's really hard, especially for women. Upper body pulling is harder. So we can go to ring rows if they just can't get any strict pull-ups. But you might get someone that, hey, they do 2 unbroken. They're fried, they do 1. They rest a minute, they do 1. Hey, we're going to retest it, and we're doing a lot of upper body pulling work, especially absolute strength pulling work and strength endurance work for them leading up to the open. So hopefully they should see good gains in that. And then for sport, it is strict chest to bar pull-ups. And this is a really good one for them. The performance avatar, I'll just say, is someone they're kind of like your RX CrossFitter. They can do probably Fran 95, 65 kipping pull-ups. They're good. Grace, maybe a little weight off. Maybe they're good. They're in that range where they can kind of RX some things, but they're not, trying to hit top 100 in regionals. And that's good. Most people, again, I like to get them here. They get some movement variance, which is good. So they're going to go outside of what fitness does. Theirs is going to be a little more, obviously, performance and output based. That's the avatar name. But not so much that we're just crushing them day in and day out, because that takes more recovery. And again, recovery takes your aerobic system, sleep, nutrition, hydration, chewing your food, that type of thing. So what we need now is for our sport athletes, what do we focus on a lot? hey, do your AM aerobic work. Well, that's why that's so important for people really competing in the sport of fitness, because CrossFit is an aerobic sport, right? As soon as you show me an open workout that lasts under 20 seconds, then I'll be open to arguments of that. But it's not an aerobic sport, but it really is. The people that can make muscle contractions aerobic, they can do them over and over, do really well. If we look at the last open, the lowest repetitions there were in any workout for a higher level athlete was over 200. That's not nothing. Okay, so there is a lot to that. So the strict pull-up test, we are testing their absolute max, then how much they can recover again. So they get 10 unbroken, they drop off, now they can do singles all day they want, and their score would be 10 and 40 or so, somewhere in there, right? For both performance and sport, for sport, strict pull-ups, chest to bar, really good for them, because that's the base of support, because their workouts are gonna have almost all chest to bar, kipping pull-ups in there. The final part, they're gonna rest a few minutes, and now it is the Roa Test. And this is a really great one because we can do it over and over, not weekly, that's a little crazy, but we can do this fairly regularly for them, and we get really good insights without a ton of volume. It's 4 sets, it's gonna be 30 seconds all out, not pacing it for the second one. They rest on the rower, feet in the straps, rest 30 seconds, go again, rest 30 seconds, go again, rest 30 seconds, and you're done. So it is a anaerobic lactic power test. We have lactic power and lactic endurance, which we'll do tomorrow. Today is the anaerobic lactic power, so the higher inside. So if you look at today, squat, kind of higher power, Amrap strict pull-ups, body weight relative strength, a little higher power, and this thing too. What you're gonna see is a fall off on the row, and that's good, we wanna see that. Right now, you might see scores for a male, maybe 170, 163, 156, 155, right? So somewhere in there might be good. What I'm expecting is over time, those last two should get a little higher as we get closer to, say, the Open or Granite Games qualifier, because that's more endurance. If it was off season, if this was September, I'd actually want a score to be 180, 170, 160, 158, because I'm trying to get the high end stuff good for power output. So that's the insight of this test. Again, how hard they can go and how much we can recover. So there's a lot of those on day one there. And actually, you want to use the Concept 2 workout scoring thing for intervals on that one. Day 2 is CP work, your creatine phosphate system, and then lactic endurance repeatability. And this is a real bruiser of a test. It's probably the second hardest test as far as, low skill, wanting just to like have blood come out your nose type test. The first part, power clean, build up to a 1 rep max. I put a control on there for 1 rep every 90 seconds just to keep it moving. For there, if they need an extra rep or 2 at the end and your class is good on time, that's okay. But they should be building up to a tough single, maybe establishing a new 1 rep for the day. Fitness is hang power clean times 3 reps. Just to a good moderate rep. And for that group, my bias is they always stop when technique gets poor. They don't get the right to just grind one out. And if you've seen one of the athletes I work with, Haley, on Instagram, she just power cleaned 240. Legs pretty wide, not the greatest thing, but it's 240. And she's been doing this for years and years. I feel like you earn that right over time by doing these basic steps. So beginners, you don't have to come in the gym and be like, Coach, am I good? It's like, no, man, you're not good. Actually, it was drop some weight. So I don't do a ton of Olympic lifting for the fitness group. It's basically hang and power positions if there's any. It's almost always technique based. The issue here on this one part is just because I don't like to program 2 separate things for testing, meaning you guys do power cleans and you guys do an 800-meter run. As a coach, that gets really difficult. So that's why this is here. Hang power clean is not too hard for them, but that's the idea. Performance sport, I say go big, go up to a 1 rep, and you as coaches know the rest, right? The next part is 15, 12, 9 reps for time of power clean and burpees. It's a lightweight. What we're trying to do is remove technique as a limiter and say, Fran, kipping pull-ups can be a limiter there. If someone's technique is poor, they're not able to express the energy their body can produce. That's why air bike is so good. There's no technique really. It's just get on and have some pain. 15, 12, 9. The sport weight is 115 and 75 pounds. So it goes down from there because we want them to go so hard. They're going to do 15, 12, 9, power clean burpee, power clean burpee, power clean burpee. Done. They rest 8 minutes exactly. And they're going to do it again. So again, I'm testing total output and then their aerobic system for recovery. I doubt they're having a whole bunch of sugars in between this workout to recover. So, excuse me, that they're going to have to go again. So that is their aerobic system for recovery. So that does take a little time. Most times in this workout should be somewhere between 3 to 6 minutes. If you know someone that, again, maybe has a good 1 rep but is in bad shape, we want to lower their weight down a little bit, they'd probably be better in the performance weight because this one is a butt kicker for sure. It doesn't seem like much, and I love that. Some of my biases big time are simple workouts that just get right to the heart of things, and I like that a lot. Kind of shows who people are. They should feel horrible after they're done, I say, and if they do them right. For fitness, it is kettlebell swings and burpees. If they want to go overhead, that's fine. Russian swings are great. Something that they can do unbroken but not forever. So maybe a 35 to 53 for a male that's moderate shape would be fine. And we want them to push hard to get that. And with the power clean, it's just too technical. Performance 95-65. Sport 115-75. This isn't one we want to do at 205 where they do 1 and drop, 1 and drop. That's different, right? That's creatine phosphate battery or recharging that. And then part C, there is an optional side plank, left and right side for max score. I like that one a lot. It's easy to do, low on kind of your mind output, your CNS there, which is great. Good for structural symmetry that we're looking for, especially when going overhead on other days. But not kind of fatigued by that. Some days we'll have a part C. I will try and make the workouts to where the moving parts, meaning A and B or C, fit into about 30 minutes. Generally is kind of the magic spot. Some are a little longer, and if it's longer, just know that the technique's going to be easier. I'm not going to program a 35-minute workout of, kettlebell windmills plus snatching plus muscle ups plus handstand walks. Is just too much in the constraints we have, and what's the point really? Wednesday, now we're going upper body strength, absolute strength with pushing, right? So this one's going to be a strict press. All groups are going to do strict press. It's a great one. Fitness, again, build up to a set of 3 or 1 if you think that they're okay there. And then for performance sport, build up to a tough single rep out of a rack. Strict press, everyone knows how that goes. The next workout is one of my favorite ones and a really good predictor. Again, these aerobic power workouts become really good predictors of how people can do in the open. So it is 6 rounds for time. I put a 20-minute cap on there because people, again, if their aerobic system is not developed, that can be crushing. So we want to scale them. Just that's the idea, get them in that range for testing. It is, as prescribed, it is 40 double unders, 20 wall balls, and then 10 toe to bar. Okay? I'm looking for 2 different scores on this one. Is every round, I like to be the same. That means it's sustainable, right? So you're going to go 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes on there. Hopefully that was 6. And that would be a 12-minute workout. That's great. What you're going to see, though, is people don't know how to pace. And pacing is a really important skill in the sport. If it's an endurance sport, you need to pace. You can't sprint the first part of a marathon and think anything good's going to happen. So you'll see people go out and they'll do 75 seconds. And I have regional level athletes doing this 75 seconds, 90 seconds, 210, 305. You get the picture. And they're like, what happened? And you try and show them, hey, if you would have gone easier on the front round and known what your body's capable of for a 12 or 15-minute workout, you would actually beat your time by 3 minutes. So this can be done under 10 minutes for sure by heavy hitters, but it's hard. And again, you're at that point, you're good at pacing and you have a high output. What we don't want to see is, hey, coach, I got all the same splits. And what were your splits? 10 minutes a round. Wow, 60 minutes. That's not exactly intensity for there. And we call that aerobic power, meaning it's under lactic endurance. We have anaerobic power, anaerobic endurance, anaerobic lactic power, anaerobic lactic endurance, and now we have aerobic power. And then under that we have kind of like aerobic, and then it would just be under that is just being alive, right? That's just aerobic stuff. So that's the idea. For fitness, it is 100 single unders, 15 wall ball, 10 sit-ups. Try to make it easy there. A little bit of muscle endurance with the wall ball, but not too much. Performance is as RX. And sport, they should be able to do this unbroken for each movement, meaning 40 dubs are unbroken, 20 wall ball are unbroken, right? It's not even Karen volume, so they should be able to do that. And 10 toes to bar. It gets tough because they're pushing it. And again, I'll sound like a broken record, but I talk about this all the time. If their toes to bar are falling apart, it's probably not because they can't do toes to bar. It's probably because they can't get enough oxygen in to refuel their muscle contractions. So that's what we're trying to see. So at that level, I want to challenge them to be able to do that over and over. And not just, yeah, I did it and it was slop, but I want to do it the right way. All right, Thursday. These ones come up on Thursday somewhat often in my programming for you guys. You'll start to see that. It's called constant variance. I sometimes call this alphabet soup for these workouts. It is great on a Thursday. If you look at the first 3 days, it's kind of, back squat, heavy back squat, power clean, and some lactic endurance, and then a strict press plus a longer aerobic power, higher contraction workout. I mean, what's that, 40, 70, 420 reps in that workout on part B of yesterday. So that's a lot. So I'm looking for something a little bit of a downshift, but still gets us a good insight from the testing. And these ones actually have some of the highest correlations between people's ability to do them and success and longevity in fitness training. So what this is, it's a series of movements that we're going to do that people hopefully should be able to make the contractions, the muscle contractions, not super damaging. If you've ever done the CP battery test for power cleans where you do a 1 rep power clean and then take 90% and for 8 minutes you do singles, you're crushed at the end. Your brain, like it's hard to think for a few days. You're using up all the crap in your body. You're like, boom, single, drop. Breathe, breathe, get back to the bar. That's a hard contraction to make. With this workout, it's the opposite. It's a moderate range. It's a bunch of movements that if you are good at these, you should be able to go straight through, no stopping. Okay, that's the idea. If you have a limiter there, whether it's muscle endurance, whether it's aerobic, whether it's a specific technique you can't do well, you'll be limited, and that's what comes up for people. They go, I was doing so good, but I lost my technique on pull-ups. I was doing so good, but I couldn't breathe on the last round. I was doing so good, and that is where they're limited. So this workout is specifically designed, and ones like them, one in the week to help make sure that if they want to keep training, they're getting something they like, but we're not just like punching them in the face every day of the week. Because we know that doesn't go well for body composition gains, for longevity, for sleep at night, stress levels, etc. So they're going to start in 35 minutes. Amrap, going to go as far as they can. They're going to bike for 10 cals, or women 8 cals, 15 kettlebell swings, 53-35 pounds. Again, not crazy heavy, something they can probably do unbroken. Box jumps plus step down, 24-20. Generally, it's almost always step downs for me. If you want them to jump off the box, that's your call. Unless it's the open or we're doing specific prep for a workout there, I just don't see a huge advantage in doing that most of the year. But like I said, that's up to you guys. 24-20 for 15 reps. Dumbbell power snatch, alternating arms, 50-35. Rowing, 150, 125 meters. There, they do that and they rest 90 seconds. The next round, they start at swings. So someone might be good at kettlebell swings at the front, but what happens when it's the last movement? Or air bike. Once they're tired, it may fall off. So we're getting also insights into what movements they're good at and bad at in different orders. So it's kind of a fun way to do it. You'll go through that. You finish on air bike. Next one up, you start at box jumps after your 90-second rest. Box jumps through, you finish with swings. Keep rotating through. For fitness, it's Russian kettlebell swings and dumbbell push press instead of a power snatch. Very light, just something they can move and go through it. Performance is RX. That should be fine. They may need a little drop in the weight, and that's fine. As long as we know and they know what their weight was so we can retest that weight again is all we really need for them. I'm less concerned with people against each other more than their own ongoing progress and that. And then sport is 70-53 and 70 and 50 pound dumbbell power snatch. So it says kettlebell, but it should be a dumbbell power snatch for that. If you want to use a kettlebell, that's fine. also for that. But at that weight, they should be able to make those kind of challenging reps that for me, I might be one, drop it, and like, again, they should be able to make that just like steady work. That's what we want. And if they can't, well, guess what? Their time's going to not be very good. And that's going to give us insights into, hey, you're not making these movements aerobic. And when the workout comes out in the open, that's 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, dumbbell power snatch and burpee box jumps or whatever it was, right? That, hey, they probably go, hey, that one crushed me too. We go, weird. Oh, so I see a correlation now that crushed you, the high rep here crushed you, and here. And we can look into that again. Is it their absolute strength? Is it muscle contractions? Is it the aerobic system, et cetera, to help them progress? And that's a long aerobic mixed modal. Friday is a squat test and CP battery one that I really like, especially for a class because we get a little more movement stuff in there. There's maybe other tests here, or there are other tests, but also trying to make sure your classes are exciting and something fun for them. This is a good one. So, whoops. Call my ClickFunnels. There you go. I'm building my ClickFunnels too. It's what everyone does in 2018. It is front squat. Build to a 1 rep front squat in 12 to 15 minutes. Same thing as Monday. We're not going to do the 85% test with this one. With the front squat, that can be hard with the bar here up on the clavicle. I've had people pass out sometimes there. So they're like holding it, they're dizzy. So it's not great. So that's our squat test. And again, front squat is a real good one for us to measure here for the sport of fitness, like I mentioned. Also good prep for part B, which is Macho Man. Every minute on the minute for as many minutes as we can do. It is 3 power cleans, 3 front squats, and 3 shoulder overhead, however we want to do it. The goal, if you can get over 10 minutes on this, I think you did a really good job for your weight. For fitness, we can either do 95, 65, or lighter. This can even be done with dumbbells. Or if you want just for technique work and you're like, hey, this person doesn't really need CP battery work, we want technique with them, I would have them do every minute on the minute for 10 minutes, 5 front squat into 5 push press for quality. All 5 front squat, all 5 push press for quality. They're going to get plenty of good reps in technique, and they're going to do that across in weight. Performance, 135.95, challenging. Yeah, for sure. It's like I said, really hard workout if you've never done it. If they get, let's say, to minute 6 and they have to break, I don't want them to stop totally. They'll have, again, 2 scores on this. That they got to minute 6, now they're going to rest a minute. They're going to jump back in, do 3, 3, 3, boom, maybe they get 2 more minutes. Now they need to break again. They're like, I'm just crushed, I'm not recovering. And there'll be how long it took them to finish 10 working rounds. So let's say they finished around minute 14, took them 10 rounds, so they had 4 breaks in there. They'd gotten 6 rounds unbroken. They finished 10 rounds in 14 minutes. That's fine. And the same thing for sport. This workout is written as 185, 125. It's hard to get 10 rounds in there. If you're getting 10 here, you're awesome. If you're getting over 20, then you're doing some things right. That's a good sign that strength is good, endurance is good, and recovery is good, and technique efficiency is good. All the things we want from a good fitness student and fitness athlete. Same thing for sport, though. If they can't make it that long, they get to 8, rest a minute or 2 minutes even, and get back on, see if you can finish 10 rounds. Just so that way, what I don't ever want to have happen is someone does 1 round, they don't get it, and you're like, all right, go home. And they're like, yeah, thanks for the coaching. That just doesn't really work great that way for a member retention side. And these parts should be built into programming and everyone's coaching, of course. Saturday, we can do any makeup work. If someone had some makeup, I put a note there that if there wasn't any makeup pieces people needed. But it is gymnastics density today, and then lactic endurance to finish. Something just to like getting kicked in the teeth is basically how lactic endurance should feel. The first part, it is going to be upper body pushing. Right, we did upper body pulling earlier, and it's going to be for fitness, it's push-ups. I don't know if I even wrote that in there. Oh, yeah. Let's see, we have 2. Sorry, I thought I had 2. It is max unbroken pulling in 1 attempt. The first one is chin over bar hold. For fitness, how long can they hold? Over here, I don't care what grip they have. Hold 1 time. For performance, it is kipping, chin over bar pull up 1 attempt, or chest to bar. And when I say kipping, that means butterfly, kip, however you want to do that. Just dynamic contractions are fine. And then for sport, I want ring muscle ups. 1 attempt unbroken. Next up is the push-up test. It is 5 minutes of push-ups, and the reason we're doing pushing here is to be stacked with the 2K rows, so it's kind of oppositional muscle groups and not super metabolic for them. So we'll rest 5 minutes, and then for fitness, it is knees, chest to deck, fully extended, 5 minutes of push-ups. If they can do that, then guess what? It's performance. Push-ups, and I say 1010 tempo, meaning they don't need to have someone counting 1,000, 2,000 for this part. Just they're not resting here for like 30 seconds, which we know stinks anyways. But same idea. They got 12 unbroken, all the way full reps, and they rest, and then they knocked out 50. And that's really good for us because muscle endurance leading up to the open is something that we'll be working a lot of, and people should see very good gains here. And it's a good thing. I mean, push-ups are a great movement to improve on. For sport, it is strict handstand push-ups. Okay, I love strict handstand push-ups. Really about maybe 6 weeks, 4 weeks before the open, because the handstand push-ups are rarely week 1. Start doing some kipping technique work for people on there, but most of the year, if it was say April, May, June, let's say even June, July, it's going to be almost all strict handstand push-up or strict deficit handstand push-up for them, just to not have the jarring on the neck too much over the course of the year for them. So this is a strict handstand push-up test, which is really tough. But if you're in sport, hey, that's what you're signing up for. Rest as needed. And then we're going to go to a 2K row for time. Okay, that's that lactic endurance. So I'll probably need a 5-10 minute break. Push-ups isn't metabolically challenging, but you need a few minutes, and then we're going to hit that hard for time. Okay? Fitness, I say if they can sub down to a 1K row, that's, again, if someone's really deconditioned, just 2K is going to be, they're going to be like, it's not lactic endurance anymore. It's just a row. They're stopping halfway. Scale them down, that's fine. For fitness, we have a lot of leeway for that type of thing because people are coming from such different starting points. Someone might be, former football player, really strong, hasn't walked down the stairs in 5 years. Well, guess what? We're starting really low here. People might be on the other side. They can do fitness. They're a marathoner, but they've never done any strength training. So they're here for fitness. So they can maybe do a 2K fine and handle the volume. So that's some different people that we'd want to look out for. Performance sport, get after it, hit that 2K hard. And then finally, I put optional, again, a final part, just a prone plank to compare to the first one. May not have time for that, just depending, but that's the game plan for gymnastics density and lactic endurance. That's the week. After that, I'm going to build out your initial cycle through the rest of January. And then based on really some of the test scores, I'll be adjusting weight loads and some of the volume and intensities I prescribed for you. But talking to your coaches, talking to John and Connor, and just knowing you guys in your gym for a long time, I have a fairly good idea what we need to do building up to the open already, because this isn't a time where we're going, hey, let's do all these new crazy things. It's trying to get people excited for Friday Night Lights, happy about coming back after the new year, etc. So this data I will be using for that, but the next through the open, we kind of know what's coming up here for that is getting people ready for these specific type of tests, as well as New Year's body comp work, just feeling really good. And I'm a big proponent of that, as I've said probably 30 times so far. I want that for your people, for them to keep coming back, and that's the goal. So if you have questions in the meantime, you can watch this video again or email me, tim@juicecompound.com, and I will answer them for your testing or for any of the training. And have a great testing week, guys. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.